foul. That was absolutely ridiculous.
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Up on down. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
I don't know. It's tough. Tom's up there, man.
Well, I've been a fan of Boston Celtics for, my whole life pretty much.
First Celtics team was back when I was like 7
The
years old.
Boston Celtics became legendary.
What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Justin Made here on YouTube and for Bean Town. We're back again with another reaction video. Why the Boston Celtics will repeat. As you guys know, it's that time of year again. It's playoffs, baby. It's the road to banner 19 now, not the road to banner 18, as banner 18 was secured last season, and now it's time to get the next one, and that is banner number 19. And this video right here is explaining why the Boston Celtics will repeat as NBA champions this season. This video was from Young Mustard. Leave his link in the description down below. Not going to go as far as saying I think it's going to be a championship year again this year. I don't want to talk too soon. But hell, the way they've been playing these last few weeks, like the last 3-4 weeks so, man, they look like they're going to be tough to beat again. They're getting hot at the right time. And they've hit 60 wins again for the second straight year. 60 wins last year, 60 wins this year. It was the first time that the Celtics did that since the 2008 and 2009 season. The 2007, 2008, 2008, 2009 season. You guys get what I'm saying there. I have to make sure I go in specific so it's not talking about the 08, whatever. You know, whatever. I'm yapping. I'm speaking Japanese. I get it. But we're going to hop into this video here. Why the Celtics will repeat. I will not complain one bit if they repeat. I will not complain if we get to see another run like we did last year. I don't know if I'm going to go too crazy like I did last year playoffs. I don't know off the top of my head if I'm going to go crazy. At least the first round, I know I'm going to probably do like one game and that's about it. Second round will be against the Knicks. I mean, that could be crazy money. So it's like, that might be one game also, so we'll see. But Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, you know how we rock. Once it gets to that round, it's kind of end game at that point. Where the content just comes straight at you guys from TD Garden, and I get exhausted again. So that's the plan, really, what I think early off the gate. So we're going to react to this video here. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go check the website. The link is in the description down below. Without further ado, see what Young Mustard's got for us.
In the NBA, where you can win 60 games as the reigning champions and still not be favored to win the title. That's exactly what the Boston Celtics are right now. And when I tell you the Celtics winning the championship is almost inevitable, you wouldn't believe how insanely true it is.
Mustard! I love that intro. That's great. That's an awesome intro.
Fair share of criticisms for the Boston Celtics, but at some point you gotta just tip your hat to a team and say they've made it. The Boston Celtics last year were one of the greatest teams in NBA history. I stand on that. In almost every single aspect of basketball, they were extremely well-rounded. The flexibility they had at basically every single position across that.
Oh my God, take me back to last year. Take me back, man. It was almost a year ago where the road to banner 18 was beginning. We were at game 1 against the Miami Heat. That was almost a year ago, and now here we are. We're kicking it up again, ready to go on another deep run. It's exciting, man. Exciting times in Boston. Just gotta love it. Just enjoy it, embrace it, because you don't know how long it's going to last, especially where there's new ownerships coming in. I don't know off the top of my head if they're going to invest in a team or if they're going to cut payroll to shed some of that apron tax or whatever, but, like, you just got to prepare for it, man. You just got to prepare for it. Just enjoy it right now.
Depth chart and rotation was insane. Players that could have multiple different roles, whether it's at the point guard with guys like Drew Holiday, Peyton Pritchard, on the wing with guys like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, and even their bigs, Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis. They gave them flexibility defensively. They had multiple different playmakers to diversify the ball handling responsibilities. And in the front court, they had spacing along with defense and passing. And before all the excuses come out about the Eastern Conference having injuries last year, let's not forget the Celtics had injuries too.
Facts.
Porzingis only played 7 games throughout the entire playoffs.
Facts.
Let that sink in for real. On their way to the NBA Finals, they only lost 2 games. That speaks volumes to how dominant that team is. And that brings us to this season where I just don't see that much changing and being different for them. Has there been a decline in some of the older vets? Absolutely. Guys like Drew Holiday and Al Horford, they have definitely taken a decline from last season's production.
Definitely, especially Drew Holiday. He's been dealing with a shoulder impingement this entire year. And you know how I feel about these nerve injuries. And same thing with Mike, too, when he's on the podcast and everything else. He was so vocal with Malcolm Brogdon's forearm injury, with the nerve injury there, where he was even at the point where, like, they have to trade him. They have to get what they can for him and, like, go from there. And then look how that really turned out for the Celtics. They ended up getting Drew Holiday. It got them a championship last year. And Malcolm Brogdon is now on Washington, and he didn't even sniff 40 games this year, to be honest with you. And honestly, when he was on the court, he was only shooting less than 30% from the three-point line. So he lost his touch from shooting. He lost his touch shooting the ball and everything else. So, like, the nerve injury is a real thing. It's a real thing in the NBA, especially when it comes to shooting a basketball. So
need Al Horford and Drew Holiday to produce at a high level to be the best team in the NBA.
And Al Horford, he's just 38. He's just getting older. That's what it is.
So last night he used him. Honestly, nothing better.
Meantime, while all of that has been going on, Derek White's still averaging 16 points a game on 38% shooting from 3 on 9 attempts. Pair that with the defensive and playmaking contributions, and oh my goodness, he's still a monster. And we talking about role players. Let's not forget Peyton Pritchard is having the best season of his career. 14 points a game off the bench, a 6th Man of the Year candidate, is shooting 40% from 3 on nearly 8 attempts.
Alright, listen, if Peyton Pritchard doesn't win 6th Man of the Year, then we just riot. That's just as simple as that, first of all. The bench took a huge leap this year for the Celtics. And when I say leap, I don't mean like one guy progressed and that's really it. I'm talking each and every single guy did their own thing really this year. Peyton Pritchard, obviously, I think that kind of speaks for himself. 6th Man of the Year, 14 points a game or whatever. He just shoots lights out from 3. He's a great shooter. And for his size, he's not that terrible in defense either. He doesn't get bullied that much. So in terms of Pritchard, he took the biggest leap out of everybody off the bench, but Luke Cornett also. Luke Cornett had a phenomenal last month and a half or so. He's been playing absolutely great. There was a point in time where, like, I was questioning the backup big situation for the Celtics team, saying, like, hey, we need to get a backup big or whatever, but Luke has been really, really holding it down with the offensive rebounding and the rebounding in general and getting himself a few blocks a game. Like, for the backup big situation, I don't need you to be a stretch big. I just need you to do the classic big stuff. You know what I mean? Rebounding and blocking, interior shots, protecting the paint, so on and so forth. That's all I need you to do. So, Luke's done a really good job of that. Hauser's been okay this year from 3. I think he's been about the same as last year, but, like, maybe a little bit better. But even Shyman has had his moments, too. Being able to play make and being able to shoot the ball, they've all been great, the bench, this year.
Game. I mean, he wasn't such a huge deciding factor in the playoffs last year, but his contributions were definitely felt. And this year, he's
even Jordan Walsh. That's another one.
And when we're talking about taking steps forward in their game, that brings me to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jason fucking Tatum. I think is one of the more underrated players in the league, and that says a lot for a guy that's viewed as a top 5 to 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree.
A video about Jason Tatum and how he gets left out of certain conversations.
Alright, we're going to react to this video. This is going to be a separate video. Alright? I am already looking at the thumbnail and everything else, the title. Yeah, we have to do that. We have to do that video because there has been a lot of Jason Tatum hate on social media. We have to watch this. Yeah. All right. That's gonna be a separate video.
Stations he belongs in, so I won't go too much in depth with it, but every single year he is producing at an elite level,
And he's
on
still
both
getting
sides of the
better.
ball, and is always finding ways to build upon his previous seasons and improve. The numbers are obviously there this season: 27, 9, and 6 on 50.
6 assists a game, like that's crazy. Almost 10 rebounds a game. Well, almost 9, I should say. But
has a case for being the best two-way player in the game right now. And
he is.
That all his other comparisons are either lacking on their offensive potential or their defensive potential. If you want to bring up an Anthony Davis, Tatum hasn't beat on the offensive side of the ball very clearly. The limitations AD has as a number one option, Tatum does not have those limitations.
Right.
If you want to look at a guy like Giannis, he is not the defender that he used to be. Tatum is still an elite level player on that side of the ball on a consistent basis. I can't say that for Greek Freak anymore. Guys like SGA, Anthony Edwards, who I would consider two-way players also, they are not the defenders that Jason Tatum.
Not even close.
So it's a real valid argument that the best two-way player in the league is Jason Tatum. And when you pair that with his improvement as a playmaker basically every single season, Tatum is carving out a path in NBA history that is very, very unique. And it should be treated as such, because if the Boston Celtics do go on another championship run, he's going to elevate himself in some all-time conversations that a lot of people are not going to be comfortable with. Now, despite me being the Celtics' biggest supporter in this video, I still do think there are two major things that could hold them back from repeating. And the two major things
injuries
are Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis.
What? I'll let you talk. All right. If I had to make a guess right now, what he's going to say is going to be KP's injury history, where maybe an injury will happen in the playoffs. And for JB, I'm going to say his knee injury. I think he's going to go hand-to-hand with the knee injury. Well, I think he's going to go hand-to-hand with the injury aspect with these two. I think. Let's see what he's got to say.
Let's start off with the latter before we get to JB. When it comes to KP's production, it pretty much speaks for itself. The man's averaging 20 points, 7 rebounds, a block and a half on 62% true shooting.
Which is good.
He's ultra efficient, he's a floor spacer in the front court, and he's a shot blocking rim protector. When he's on the court, he's producing at a high level, and the Celtics win at a high level. But notice when I said when he's on the court.
Yeah, okay.
That's the problem with KP. He's only played 41 games this season. 41. That's half the season, which has usually always been his biggest issue, his lack of availability. As we saw last year, the Celtics were able to win in spite of that, as not only was he limited to 57 games in the regular season, but he damn near missed the entire postseason, only playing in 7 games. Last year, the Celtics, even though I think they would have won regardless, they did have a very fortunate path of running into teams like the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler, or the Cleveland Cavaliers without Donovan Mitchell, or the Indiana
Mitchell
Pacers
for 3
without
games
Tyrese
though.
Halliburton. Those series could have been a lot longer, or maybe even potentially, especially in the case of Jimmy because he got a crazy history, the outcome could have gone in the other team's favor if those players were healthy. And KP not being available is a problem for the Boston Celtics, like it or not. The Celtics without him are a really good team, but with him, they are the best team in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
He's very fortunate to be on a team like the Boston Celtics anyways. I think the Celtics make him look a lot better than he makes the Celtics do. A lot of his flaws are masked on a team like the Boston Celtics. And I'm talking about flaws on both sides of the ball. His limits as a shot creator and a number 1 option, or even a number 2 option, are covered on this team. Those shot creating responsibilities he had in Washington or in Dallas back in the day
had to be number
those
2.
are masked now that he's playing behind a Jason Tatum and a Jaylen Brown.
Right.
And even on some nights, he's even the 4th option behind a guy like
Derek White.
And on the defensive side of the ball, we all know he does have some limitations when it comes to playing in space. But on a team like the Boston Celtics that have players who can fight over screens, good with rotations like Derek White, Drew Holiday, and Jason Tatum, he has the support on the wing and perimeter, and even in the front court with him with a guy like Al Horford in order for him to just do his job and block shots at the rim. His availability is going to be very critical for the Boston Celtics just to come come out of the Eastern Conference. We know his ability to produce at a high level, but now he has to be durable and be there. Because in a conference that is upgraded with teams like the Cavaliers and New York Knicks being better, and the decline of some of the vets like Al Horford and Drew Holiday, Porzingis' production is needed now more than ever for the Boston Celtics to repeat. But now let's talk about the former and Jaylen Brown's issues. JB has not been bad this season, but compared to what he did last year and coming off of the heights of his postseason performance, I would say it's been pretty disappointing. There's a dip in his point.
What? Hold on. Wait. I feel like I gotta get the numbers here. Hold on, guys. Wait a minute. I gotta get the numbers real quick for Jaylen Brown, because I honestly think Jaylen Brown has been good this year. Am I crazy to say that? I mean, according to this guy, it seems like I'm crazy to think that, but I thought JB this year has been great. I don't know what he's saying right now in terms of Jaylen Brown. Hold on 1 second. Let me get his numbers for you guys real quick. This year, JB's averaging 22 points a game. So where's his splits from last year versus this year? Okay, here we go. Last year, 23 points a game to this year's 22. Okay, there's really not that much of a difference there. Last year, he shot, let's say 50% from three. Well, 50% from the field because he's at 49.9 from the field. This year's at 46%. Last year from three, he was 35.4% from three. This year's at 32.4. So a little bit of a dip there. Not crazy of a dip, but there is a little bit of a dip there. And then in terms of the rebounding, he actually got more rebounds this year versus last year. And then he's actually having more assists this year versus last year. So yes, the shooting splits are not as good. I honestly think, though, that everything else has been good for JB, though. Like, the rebounding's gotten better. The playmaking's gotten much better. I feel like JB's not forcing as many shots as before. He's just not making them. I think that's what it is. The turnover numbers are basically the same as last year. And I don't know. I kind of disagree with him. I feel like, if anything, if we really want to talk about it, maybe he's slightly worse, but, like, not to the point where, like, you can say he's been disappointing. You know what I mean?
Per game, his turnovers have gone up a little bit, and on top of that, he's even less efficient this season, especially from behind the arc. JB's always been a pretty streaky three-point shooter, but this year it's worse than it's ever been. Because while he's shooting 6 threes a game, he has a career low in his three-point percentage at 32%. And even when it's a career low inside the arc, his two-point percentage is the lowest that it's ever been since the 2018 season. So to be quite honest with you, it's probably his worst scoring season since he's become an all-star caliber player. That doesn't bode well for a Boston Celtics team that's trying to go back-to-back. The Celtics have a lot of supporting pieces that complement JB's game perfectly, and unfortunately he's just not getting the job done this season. And yes, they are still winning games in spite of that, but the flaws in his inability to read pick-and-roll defenses, streaky three-point shooting, and
I will say he's had there are some couple games where he's had some bad games, but
definitely be issues that come back to bite the Boston Celtics, especially if
has he been the same since last year? Okay, if you really want to say no, then I wouldn't disagree with that, because, like, the numbers like, his scoring numbers have taken a dip, but, like, again, the rebounding's better, the assist numbers are better, the turnovers, if you were to ask me, are kind of the same. It's kind of at the same rate. So, like, is there really that much of a change? No.
KP is not fully healthy. So to make it plain and simple, JB needs to lock the fuck in come postseason time. The Celtics do have their issues with JB and KP, but I do believe, especially now with KP being fully healthy, that the Celtics will get it together. As far as the Eastern Conference is concerned, I just do not believe in the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm sorry. And the same thing applies even more to the New York Knicks, who can't be
I was going to say, Cavs is going 7, I think. That's either going 6 or 7. It's going at bare minimum, I think, 6. Knicks might be in 5. I got to keep it a buck. The Knicks might be a 5-game series. I don't have any faith in that Knicks team whatsoever. None. Zip. Zero. I honestly think they're going to have a hard time against the Detroit Pistons if we're going to be really honest about the situation. I just think they're overrated. I just think the Knicks don't show up when they need to win. I just think they're overhyped. I think they're overhyped. I just don't think their defense is nearly as good as people think it is. Sure, the scoring might be good. Don't get me wrong. But I can't sit here and say that the Knicks are going to be a big threat to the Celtics team. I can't say that. I can't. It was a great game the other night in Madison Square Garden, but they're 0-10 against the top 3 teams in the NBA. I'm not a believer in them. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Their lives. Now, as far as the Western Conference is concerned, with teams like OKC and the Los Angeles Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, those would be teams I'm a little more worried about if I'm the Boston Celtics.
If Shea's getting his whistle, then there's nothing you can really do.
From the field. Minnesota needed some size here for the final minute.
However, if Shea is getting the treatment like he has been recently, where they're not calling as many fouls, then it's going to be a little more interesting. But, yeah.
Than a team like the fucking New York Knicks. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the fact that the Boston Celtics rotation, nobody can compete with their top 7 to 8 guys. And unless you're bringing up OKC to the table, I really don't want to hear or have that conversation. So to all the Celtics haters out there, just face the facts. Them winning and going back to back, it's inevitable.
I don't know about inevitable, but I will definitely sit here and say that they have a very good chance at it. I will say that at the very least. But great video, Young Mustard. That's a great video. I'll even leave a like on that. Great video. Go show Young Mustard some love. I'll leave his links in the description down below. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this video here. Subscribe now if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go to the website. Link is in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching this one. It's been your boy Jesse, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later, guys.